Manly men.
I am a man!
Men.
We're men.
Hello. Another video for King's War, and this time we are looking at the Kingdoms of Men. Now, before I begin, in the big rulebook there was background for the Kingdoms of Men, but no army list. You could use Basileans as Kingdoms of Men. A lot of the stuff is transferable, but weirdly enough, no Kings of Men army as such, which I find a little bit weird. But there you go. The Kingdoms of Men are your, well, any sort of human force. You could have them as samurais, you could have them as barbarians, you could have them as Norsemen, you could have them as Victorian peasantry if you wanted. Have them any way you want. I doubt that Mantic will do true Kingdoms of Men sort of models, but like I said, you could use Basilean models because, let's face it, a lot of them are similar, like the Knights on foot, the Paladin Knights, the Crossbowmen, the Sisterhood Scouts with the bows, and so on and so forth. So, in the Uncharted Empire's 3rd edition book is what you'll need, and you'll need the rulebook, main rulebook for the rules, but you won't need it because it's not a themed list. You'll need to be on page 75, and they are neutral. The army special upgrade is Indomitable Will. Once per game, during your turn, you may choose to make the unit fearless and gain the Inspiring Self special rule. Both of these last until the start of your next turn. In addition, if the unit is currently wavered, it becomes steady. The unit's Indomitable Will is then depleted and cannot be used again for the remainder of the game. This is one of the most useful upgrades in any army. For one, it gives you a automatic success for Headstrong. It also gets rid of wavered if you are, which kind of the same thing, and makes you fearless for 2 turns, essentially. Well, a turn essentially. So, and gets rid of wavering for 2 turns. Well, makes you immune from wavering for 2 turns, should I say. So, first turn you use it, gets rid of the wavering, and then in your opponent's next turn after, they're shooting you or battering in close combat, and unless they're routing you, doesn't matter. Also, if you are going to be routed, it does give you a little bit chance to stay because of the Inspiring Self. So in most cases, I take it. I really would. So starting with the infantry, we have the Shield Wall. Speed 5, melee 4+, defense 4+. Troop 10 attacks, nerve 911, 65 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 1315, 100 points. Horde 25 attacks, nerve 2022, 165 points. And it's got an Indomitable Will for 10 points. These are your basic unit. Average hit in close combat, average defense. I'd hold them out. A regiment. The nerve isn't bad as a regiment. I mean, the nerve of 1315 for a regiment, it's not bad. But for an extra 65 points, you get a lot more attacks. You're getting more than double. Your nerve is about, you've got 7 extra points of nerve. So yeah, I'd hoard them, but there is better. Next we have the pole arm block. Speed 5, melee 4 plus, defence 3 plus. Regiment, 12 attacks, nerve 13-15, 105 points. Horde, 25 attacks, nerve 20-22, 175 points. They've got Crush Strength 1 and can take Indomitable Will for 10 points. Like I said, there's better ones to come, and these are one of them. They've got Crushing Strength, which in one way is better, but their defence is a bit lower. They also cost a smidgen more points, and you can't take them as a troop, but I won't do anyway. I'd still hoard them out. They've got 25 attacks, and especially with Crushing Strength 1, that is going to hurt a lot more. Next we have the Spear Phalanx. Speed 5, melee 4 plus, defence 4 plus. Regiment, 15 attacks, nerve 13-15, 120 points. Horde, 30 attacks, nerve 20-22, 200 points. They've got Phalanx, can take Indomitable Will for 10 points. Exchange spears for pikes, gaining ensnare for 20 points for a regiment, 30 points for a horde. I'd really consider exchanging spears for pikes. I mean, ensnare's always a useful ability. And the thing is, if you've got the spear phalanx against someone that can fly or against cavalry, they're at -2 tip because they're hindered because of the spears, because of phalanx. And then they've got ensnare as well, which means they're an additional -1. Which I would consider it. It's not a cheap upgrade, I grant you. I mean, if you're taking Indomitable, which you really always should, that's an extra 30 to 40 points, which can make it a bit expensive, but I do feel it's worth it. Plus you're getting the extra attacks because of the spears. Next we have the Foot Guard. Speed 5, melee 3 plus, defence 5 plus. Troop, 10 attacks, nerve 10-12, 90 points. Regiment, 12 attacks, nerve 14-16, 135 points. Horde, 25 attacks, nerve 21-23, 225 points. No special rules, but can take Indomitable Will for 10 points. Can exchange shields for two-handed weapons, lowering defence to 4, and gaining Crush Strength 1 for 3. Again, I'd consider that. Most of them are defensive 4, so it's not really that much of a downside. They hit on 3s and Crush Strength 1, which is always nice. Their nerve is a bit better than the others. So, yeah. I'd probably always give them Crush Strength 1. They need the bit of the hitting power. I mean, being defense 4 is not really much different to most of the other infantry types you get in here. So I'd probably always do that, and again I'd always do Indomitable Will. It's no brainer for me. Next we have the Militia Mob, and they are irregular. Speed 5, melee 5 plus, defence 3 plus. Regiment, 12 attacks, nerve 11-14, 70 points. Horde, 25 attacks, nerve 18-21, 115 points. Legion, 30 attacks, nerve 24-27, 170 points. That's basically it. If you are taking these, have them as a Legion. It's cheap enough. 170 points for 30 attacks of nerve of 24-27. There's no reason why you shouldn't. I'd possibly, if you're taking these, take the magic upgrade, which you're getting some crushing strength on you, or the upgrade, which means you're always hitting on 4 plus. That way, your 30 attacks are always hitting on 4s, and there's always ways to get your crushing strength out there. I wouldn't go heavy on them, but that nerve value, I mean, if you take them as a horde, that nerve value isn't bad. I won't take them as a regiment. It's cheap, it really is cheap, but it's just not worth it. Next we have the Fanatics. Speed 5, melee 3 plus, defence 3 plus. Troop, 12 attacks, nerve -11, 95 points. Regiment, 15 attacks, nerve -15, 145 points. Horde, 30 attacks, nerve, dash 22, 240 points. They've got Crush Strength 1 and Wild Charge D3. This is basically like the militia mob, but with a bit more to it. They hit better with a melee stat of 3. They're fearless, but the nerve isn't as well. No, their nerve is a bit better. It's just you can't make them a legion, which is a shame, but hey ho. Got Crush Strength 1 and Wild Charge D3, which means they've got a minimum charge range of 11, maximum charge range of 13, which is pretty decent. I wouldn't go heavy on these, but you can do if you want. Though bearing in mind, because the militia mob isn't in the Basileia anymore, you could use the fanatics from this and ally them with the Basilean army, because as this is a master list, the fanatics would be used. Because in a theme list you can't have allies in any case, but because this is a master list, you can take either the fanatics or the militia mob, though you have to take another unit to take the militia mob because they are regular. I take the fanatics because they hit in close combat on 3s, they've got 30 attacks as a horde, their nerve's not bad as a horde or as a regiment really. They've got Crush Strength 1 and Wild Charge D3. No brainer for me. Next we have the ranged infantry, starting with the bowmen. Speed 5, melee 5+, range 5+, defense 3+. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 911, 75 points. Regiment 10 attacks, nerve 1315, 100 points. Horde 20 attacks, nerve 2022, 175 points. And they've got bows, which are 24-inch range. These are your basic infantry, well, ranged infantry should I say. Like in most cases, I'd just take them as a troop. But you could horde and regiment them out because they're not a regular. They are fairly cheap and they are fairly naff in close combat, but at least you can have them as a regiment if you want. If you really want. Next we have the crossbow block, and they're not irregular either. Speed 5, melee 5+, range 5+, defense 3+. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 911, 85 points. Regiment 10 attacks, nerve 1315, 115 points. Horde 20 attacks, nerve 2022, 200 points. They've got crossbows, which are 24-inch range, piercing 1 and pot shot. Exchange crossbows for rifles, which are 24-inch range, piercing 2, pot shot for 10 points for a troop, 15 points for a regiment, and 25 points for a horde. I would... so that makes it 95 points for a troop, 130 points for a regiment, 225 points for a horde. I would either take them as a troop or as a horde. 20 shots with piercing 1 or 20 shots with piercing 2. Have them as a troop for 85 points. Well, 95 points if you take the rifles. Reason I won't take them as a regiment is the shots in between are just nah. Plus, if you hold them out, you can take some other troops or regular stuff or some heroes or whatnot, because they're not regular. I mean, you could do an army just of bowmen and crossbowmen if you wanted. I wouldn't, but you can. Next we have the cavalry, starting with the knights. Speed 8, melee 3+, defense 5+. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 1113, 125 points. Regiment 16 attacks, nerve 1416, 195 points. Horde 32 attacks, nerve 2123, 330 points. Headstrong and Thunderous Charge 2, and contain Kingdom Will for 10 points. Again, you always take that. The Knights good on the charge. Unless you hold them out, I wouldn't recommend them staying around longer than probably 2-3 turns if you're lucky, if they're being charged, especially if they're being charged with something either with a lot of attacks, a lot of crush strength, or both, or Thunderous Charge of course. So yeah, they've got defense 5, which is good. Hit on 3s, which again is good. But unless you get the charges out or you have them as a horde, they're going to get a bit stuck. Next we have the mounted sergeants, speed 9, melee 4+, defense 4+. Troop 7 attacks, nerve 10, 12, 100 points. Regiment 14 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 150 points. Nimble and thunderous charge 1. They are a bit cheaper version of the knights. If you take them as a regiment, they are 45 points cheaper, which the difference is you're getting 1 pip extra in your nerve, you're getting 2 extra attacks, yeah, better defense and better melee, and you're getting headstrong, but you haven't got nimble, and your thunderous charge is a bit better. Mounted sergeants are your kind of your fast cavalry. Sort of, well, no, you've got mounted scouts, which I'll talk about in a minute. I suppose the mounted sergeants are your midpoint cavalry, I suppose. I don't know. They're fairly cheap, I suppose. That's the point with them, I suppose. Speed 9 and nimble, thunderous charge 1, fairly cheap. Comparing them to the knights are just so much better. Yeah, I'd take the knights over the sergeants any day. Finally, we have the mounted scouts, and they are irregular. Speed 9, melee 4+, range 5+, defense 3+. Troop 7 attacks, nerve 10, 12, 100 points. Regiment 14 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 155 points. Nimble, short bows which are 18-inch range and they've got steady aim. Exchange short bows for black powder weapons which are 18-inch range. Piercing 1, steady aim for 15 points for your troop, 25 points for a regiment. I would probably do this. You are looking at 180 points for 14 attack, 14 shots with piercing and steady aim at speed 9. Downside is hitting on 5s, but you have got nimble and steady aim, which does make up for that a little bit in speed 9, which technically means you've got a 27-inch range, which is a bit over the bow range of 24, so hey, there is that. Troops not bad. It's small in terms of base size, so I can see the point of that. But you've got piercing 1, and on a regiment, that's not at all awful. Next, you have the chariots. There's only one, and they are the charioteers, and they are regular. Speed 9, melee 4+, defense 4+, range 5+. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 11, 13, 125 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 155 points. Horde 16 attacks, nerve 15, 17, 195 points. Legion 20 attacks, nerve 19, 21, 225 points. They've got thunderous charge 2, and they've got short bows which are 18-inch range. 4 attacks for a troop, 6 attacks for a regiment, 8 attacks for a horde, 10 attacks for legion, and they've got steady aim. They're not bad, I guess. They've got thunderous charge 2, which is great. They're all shades of alright. The defence is a bit low, and their range attack again is a bit low, but they have got a lot of attacks, and the nerve isn't too bad either. Speed of 9 as well, you can't go wrong with that. The thing is with the ranged attack, I wouldn't use that as their go-to gimmick, because the amount of attacks, you're just going to be peppering enemies with your ranged attack. Your main thing is with them is just charge them in as quick as possible. I wouldn't have them as a troop. I'd start as a regiment and go from there. Probably, I mean, a legion of 20 attacks with a nerve of 90, 21 for 225 points. That's not bad. I'd say that's pretty decent. You can't have an army of them because they are regular, but Next we have the war engines. Starting with the siege artillery. Speed 5, range 5 plus, defence 4 plus. 2 attacks, nerve 9, 11, 90 points. It's 48 inch range, blast D3 plus 1, ignores cover, indirect, piercing 3, reload. It's basically a... the nearest thing I can think of is Games Workshop did a... It was basically, had a load of rockets on it, you could just fire off. That's kind of the nearest I can think of. Maybe an organ gun, something along them lines. Perhaps that's really all I can think of. Maybe a trebuchet. Could be one of them. Could be one of them. Next we have the ballista. Speed 5, range 4 plus, defence 4 plus. 2 attacks, nerve 9, 11, and 75 points. Ballista is 48 inch range, blast D3, piercing 2, reload. The cannon is next. Speed 5, range 5 plus, defence 4 plus. 2 attacks, nerve 9, 11, 100 points. It's 48 inch range. Well, the cannon is 48 inch range, blast D3 plus 1, ignores cover, piercing 3, reload, shattering. The grape shot is 12 inch range, has 10 attacks, piercing 1. This attack always hits on a 6 plus. So they're the 3 war machines. The siege artillery has got pierce. Is 10 points cheaper than the cannon. Is there anything different? The cannon's got shattering and the grape shot. The ballista is more accurate, but it doesn't ignore cover. That's why it's 75 points. So 15 points cheaper than the siege artillery and 25 points cheaper than the cannon. It's only piercing 2, not piercing 3. The thing is though, do you want to be hitting on 4s or do you want to be hitting on 5s? I'd rather be hitting on 4s because chances are you will hit more. Yes, you are not ignoring cover, but at 48 inch range you have a chance to hit whatever the hell you want. Hell, go for the big stuff. Every wound on a big thing is a wound well deserved. Next we have the monsters. There's only one and it is the mammoth. It is a chariot monster, so chariot base size. Speed 7, melee 4 plus, defence 5 plus. 12 attacks, nerve, dash 18, 220 points. Brutal, crush strength 2, strider, thunderous charge 2. I'll go through the next... Well, I'll not go through the next one actually. It's kind of a choice between the giant and the mammoth. The giant is a bit more expensive. It's not fearless, but its nerve is better. It hasn't got the guaranteed 12 attacks, where it's got D6 plus 8, so it could have more, it could have less. It's got better crushing strength, but it doesn't have thunderous charge, which actually the giant technically has both the thunderous charge and crushing strength rolled into one, I guess. So there's strength of taking the mammoth over the giant. You've got the guaranteed attacks, it's fearless, and it's slightly cheaper. Next we have the titans. There's only one and it is the giant. Speed 7, melee 4 plus, defense 5 plus. Attacks D6 plus 8, nerve 18, 20, 225 points. Got brutal, crush strength 4, fury and strider. Now this will be kind of repeating what I've said about the monster in the mammoth, that it's apples and pears essentially. The mammoth got you guaranteed 12 attacks, it's fearless, and it's a bit cheaper. The giant can have more attacks, it's got a bit better nerve, though it can be wavered. It's also got Fury, so it can countercharge if it is wavered. So it kind of negated in a way. The Giant is somewhat better because it has got a guaranteed Crush Strength 4 rather than Thunderous Charge 2 and Crush Strength 2. But again, the guaranteed 12 attacks, there is an argument in taking it over the Giant. Next we have the Heroes. Starting with the General Hero Infantry. Speed 5, melee 3+, defense 5+, 5 attacks, nerve 12, 14, 85 points. Crush Strength 1, individual, very inspiring and mighty. Mount on a horse, increase speed to 8 and change into hero cavalry for 35 points. Maybe. The thing with it is, most of your mighty heroes, you're looking at 110 to 135 odd points. He's only 85 points, which makes him a bit more interesting. He's basically a slightly more expensive army standard bearer with better attacks, better hitting capability. Yeah. The thing with it though, very inspiring, 9-inch range. And 85 points, he's not bad. He's not bad. I'd maybe consider him. Next we have General on Pegasus. Hero, large cavalry. Speed 10, melee 3+, defense 5+. 4 attacks, nerve 12, 14, 135 points. Got Crush Strength 1, flying, nimble, very inspiring. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm on about. It's usually 135 points for your mighty hero sort of thing. But it can fly, it's got Crush Strength 1, it's got 1 less attack than the General on foot, which is weird, but okay. It's large cavalry, so at least you get the flank and rear charge bonuses, at least you're getting that. General on Winged Beast is next, hero and monster. Speed 10, melee 3+, defense 5+, 7 attacks, nerve 14, 16, 190 points. Crush Strength 2, fly, nimble, thunder charge 1, very inspiring. Maybe consider this, it's a extra 55 points than the General on Pegasus, and an extra 105 points more than the General on foot. But it is a lot better, it's got 7 attacks, it's got Crush Strength 3 and Thunderous Charge 1, and as it's a hero monster and it can fly, you can move about charging a lot of things of your choice while you're hiding behind other units ready to make you pounce. Yeah, I don't think it's too bad at all. I don't think it's too bad at all. Army Standard Bearer is next, Hero Infantry. Speed 5, melee 5+, defense 4+. 1 attack, nerve 9, 11, 50 points. Individual, very inspiring. Mount on a horse, increasing speed to 8 and changing to hero cavalry for 25 points. Maybe. I say maybe for this because having a inspiring range of 9 does mitigate it somewhat. At least you get the extra 3 inch of inspiring, which can really help. Most army standard bearers you're looking at just having normal inspiring, whereas in this army got very inspiring, so it might be worth taking. It might be worth taking. Next we have the Hero Infantry. Speed 5, melee 3+, defense 5+. 5 attacks, nerve 10, 12, 40 points. Crushing Strength 1, individual. Indomitable Will 5 points. Mount on a horse, increases speed to 8 and changing to hero cavalry for 25 points. He hasn't got inspiring, he's got less attacks than the General, his nerve isn't as good, he isn't mighty, and at 45 points less I can see why. He's 10 points less than the Army Standard Bearer, hits better in close combat than the Army Standard Bearer, but I can't see the point of that one, to be honest. I really can't. Hero on Pegasus. Hero, Lord Cavalry. Speed 10, melee 3+, defense 5+. 3 attacks, nerve 10, 12. I really don't know why the nerve isn't better. 90 points. Crush Strength 1, fly, nimble, indomitable will for 5 points. At least you're getting the flanking rear charges, I suppose. 6 attacks on the flank, 9 attacks on the rear. It's 90 points. Yeah. Nah. Just nah. Next we have the Assassin. Hero Infantry. Speed 6, melee 3 plus, range 4 plus, defense 4 plus. 5 attacks, nerve, 10, 12, 80 points. Crush strength 1, duelist, individual, stealthy, vicious, throwing daggers, which are 12-inch range, piercing 1. You can take indomitable will for 5 points. If you are going hero hunting, then maybe think about it. Got stealthy, and the throwing daggers, a 12-inch range with piercing 1. If you move and shoot, which likely you will, need 5 to hit, 5 attacks, needing 5s. Maybe. You've got stealthy, which really is going to help you for being shot at, and you're an individual, so it's a -2 to hit him. So most people will be needing 6s, if not halving your attacks, and then needing 6s. So it's a hero that you might want to take. Next we have the Fanatic Instigator. Hero Infantry. Speed 5, melee 3 plus, defense 4 plus. 6 attacks, nerve, dash 14, 85 points. Crush strength 1, mighty, wild charge D3. Same points cost as the general, got 1 more attack, fearless. You got the wild charge D3. I can sort of see the point of taking it over the general. You've not got the very inspiring, which is the downside to it, but you are fearless with 1 extra attack, which I can see an argument for. Next we have the Wizard, Hero Infantry, Spellcaster rank 1, not 2. Speed 5, melee 5 plus, defense 4 plus. 1 attack, nerve, 10, 12, 50 points. Individual, and comes with 5 or 6 as standard. Mount on the horse, increasing speed to 8 and changing to Hero Cavalry for 25 points. Mount on the Pegasus, losing individual, gaining fly and nimble, as well as increasing speed to 10 and changing to Hero Large Cavalry for 35 points. Speed 10, maybe. Your height 4, so can see over a lot of things while probably gaining cover. Shoot things over, maybe. Bane Chant 2 for 20 points, always a good option here. Heal 3 for 20 points, maybe. Lightning Bolt 3 for 20 points, or 3 for it replaces Fireball. For 50 points for Lightning Bolt 3. Normally I'd say no, but for 50 points, that's not bad. Wind Blast 5 for 20 points, no. I'd honestly say no. Unless it's built in, I'd never take Wind Blast. The Wizard isn't a bad support option hero. If for most cases I would take Bane Chant, especially for this army where a lot of infantry units and getting your crushing strength and you need to get it from somewhere, this is your main option. I reckon the hero is, I'd take at least 2 if not 3 in my army if I was doing Kingdoms of Men. Next we have the unique units. There's only one, and it is the Captain. Hero Infantry. Speed 5, melee 3 plus, defense 5 plus. 5 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 120 points. Pretty cheap for a unique guy. Crush strength 1, individual, mighty, rallying 1, very inspiring. Master Tactician, you can redeploy D3 of your own units after deployment is finished, but before scout moves are made. Mount on a horse, increasing speed to 8 and changing Hero Cavalry for 35 points. On the face of it, it just seemed like a more expensive general. However, you've got the rallying, which is going to be an absolute blessing, I think. I mean, if you use it on things like the militia mob or the fanat, well, the militia mob is the biggest example, increasing your nerve values by 1. So you've got on the Legion of the militia mob in that case a nerve of 25, 28, which, come on, it's no brainer there as far as I'm concerned. You've also got the Master Tactician, which means you can mess about with your opponent. Right, I'm going to put this here, I'm going to put this here, I'm going to put this here. Right, even if you just get one unit, you want to make sure, right, I want to make sure I've got this unit here, but then I'm going to put it over here. I mean, even if you get the extra 2, just maybe swap them about a bit. It's a nice thing just to annoy your opponent. It's not a hero I'd take all the time, but 120 points. He isn't that more expensive than the general. He's 35 points more, but with that you've got the rallying and the master tactician. For 155 points you are getting the captain on a horse, which you might consider, so you can get the rallying going off in different points where you need to. He's not amazing, but for them things alone, he's definitely worth considering. They are a little bit squishy, and they aren't that strong, because a lot of them don't have any thunderous charge or crushing strength. Granted, the cavalry have, but cavalry always does. The thing is, though, the Indomitable Will is an upgrade you always take. The reason being is it gets rid of wavering for a turn. It makes them fearless for a turn, and gives them inspiring for themselves for a turn. Not only that, your heroes have got very inspiring, which means you've got an extra 3-inch range on your inspirings, which you might not think is much, but it really can help. Also, it might not be much to think about, but your ranged infantry are not irregular, which you can just do a gunline army if you so want. You can do a mounted gunline army in a way. Yes, they're regular, but just take a load of crossbow blocks if you wanted, I guess. And just take siege artillery, ballistas, cannons, and mounted sergeants, mounted scouts, sorry, and maybe charioteers, backed up perhaps by giants, I'd say. Again, wizards are a go-to hero in this army. You'd kind of need the Bane chance going off here, because yes, they have the Indomitable Will, but that's an only 1 turn upgrade. Once you've used it, it's gone, and if you use it too late, it doesn't matter. The wizards, I mean, it's 50 points, 75 it's 70 points for a wizard with Bane Chant. You could stick a lot in. Also, bearing in mind, a lot of the units in this army aren't that expensive. You can take a load of them, hoard the armies out if you want. I mean, one of the best examples for this is the Fanatic Crush Strength 1 as a horde, and then have the wizard giving it Crush Strength 2. Yeah, that's just mean. That's just mean. Yeah. They are a basic army, but you can get a lot out of them with the right setups. And there are a fair number of setups. You could just go for block mass infantry, block cavalry. You can do that road if you want. To block firepower, or have a mix of everything. The world is your lobster with the Kingdoms of Men army. And that's it for now. Goodbye.